Ever feel like your association's website is, well, kind of lost in the internet void? Like you're shouting into this digital abyss.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Today we're tackling that, right? We're diving into this whole world of SEO, but specifically how associations can really, rise above all the noise online, become that go-to hub.
Yeah. We're talking about attracting that organic traffic, right? People who are actually searching for what you offer. That's the sweet spot.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're actually taking a page from G2.com's playbook.
Interesting choice. They're a big player in the software review world, but even they've hit a few bumps in the road, haven't they?
They have, which is kind of surprising, right? You'd think a platform that big, they've got it all figured out, but their organic traffic's actually taken a dip.
And that's what makes them such a fascinating case study, don't you think? Because
Yeah.
if it can happen to them.
It can happen to anyone, exactly. So what's going on over at G2 that, associations really need to pay attention to?
Well, it highlights this crucial point, right? That even the big players, the established names, they aren't immune to these shifts we're seeing online. New competitors popping up every day, search engine algorithms changing like the wind. It's a whole new ballgame.
And that's where I think Manzar Mashud's insights come in, right? He's a civic CRM and digital marketing consultant, and he put together these they're powerful SEO strategies for G2 to kind of reclaim their lost traffic.
And that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
How can associations, your listeners, take these strategies and make them work for them?
Exactly. So first up on the list, user-generated content, UGC. It's everywhere these days, but I'm curious, what's the strategy here?
So it might seem a little counterintuitive, but G2 is saying, you got to harness the power of your people, your users, your members.
I'm all for getting members more involved, but we're not talking about just any old content here, right?
No, not at all. This is about quality over quantity. G2 recommends these like dedicated forums, places where users can really dig deep into a topic, share experiences, learn from each other.
So less random thoughts, more like a focused, curated space for real discussion.
Exactly. Think of it like a curated online community where your association's niche expertise is front and center.
Got it. So a bit like what HubSpot's doing. They've got those community forums that are just buzzing.
Oh, they've nailed it, haven't they? Their forums are packed, users discussing strategy, troubleshooting issues. It's all neatly organized, too. Easy to find what you need.
And that's key, isn't it? It's not just about having a space for conversation, but making sure it's actually a valuable resource, something that's going to attract the right people organically.
100%.
But how do you actually get that level of, I don't know, like high quality engagement going? Getting someone to comment on a social media post, that's one thing. But meaningful contributions to a forum, that's a whole different ballgame.
You've hit on a really important point, and this is where associations actually have a unique advantage, I think.
Oh, how so?
Well, you have access to this incredible pool of expertise, your members. Seasoned professionals who are passionate about their field. Just like software companies collaborate with their testers, G2 is suggesting that associations should be encouraging their members to become content creators.
So we're talking what, like in-depth articles,
Yeah.
webinars, case studies?
Exactly. Content that provides real value to other people in the field.
Wow.
And we've seen this work. Look at Atlassian. They're the company behind Jira, and their developer community is thriving.
They're killing it. What's their secret?
They incentivize contributions. They feature member-created tutorials, give recognition for great forum posts. They've even got a system for showcasing exceptional member projects.
It's like turning your members into this powerhouse content marketing team.
Exactly. And it's a win-win for everyone. Members get a platform, they get to build their network. The association gets this constant flow of fresh content. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, so we've talked about written content, but what about video? It's everywhere you look online these days. Feels like you can't really, dominate the online world without a solid video strategy.
You're right. Video is non-negotiable, and G2 emphasizes this a lot. It's engaging, digestible, and people love to share it.
Makes sense. What kind of video content are they recommending?
They mention podcasts, which, hey, look at us. But also things like product demos, explainer videos for associations. Think member testimonials, event recaps, expert interviews. Bring your work to life.
It's like what CNET Reviews has done, right? They've built an empire on video content. Their reviews, their comparisons, they're the gold standard.
They are. In that format, those in-depth reviews, it translates so well to associations. Imagine A series of short, snappy videos where your members are sharing their expertise.
That's powerful stuff, and it plays right into how people are consuming content these days. Short attention spans. We need to keep it snappy. Which, speaking of adapting, let's talk about AI search optimization for a minute. It's one thing to think about Google, but how do you even begin to optimize for something like ChatGPT?
Now that
Yeah.
is where things get really interesting. G2 is putting a lot of emphasis on this, and for good reason. These AI search engines, they're getting smarter by the day, right? They're not just looking at keywords anymore. They're trying to figure out what you mean, what your intent is.
So no more keyword stuffing. Tell me more. This is good stuff.
It's out with the old and in with the new, right? It's all about creating content that provides actual value, answering the questions your audience is asking.
So who's doing this well? Who's got this whole AI search optimization thing down pat?
Trustpilot's a good example. They use AI to create these really concise summaries of user reviews. So if you're a customer, you can very quickly get to the heart of what people are saying about a business. Brilliant.
That's really interesting. So it's about making information more digestible, easier to consume, especially these days when we're all so overwhelmed.
Exactly. It's about cutting through the noise.
This is what I find so fascinating about AI, right? It's constantly learning. So how do you even adapt your content for something that's in a constant state of evolution?
The million-dollar question. While the specifics might change, some things stay the same. Clear, concise writing. Well-structured content.
So those things never go out of style.
Never. Use headings, bullet points, make your content easy to scan. That's key.
It's almost like we're shifting from, I don't know, writing for robots to writing for a really smart but easily distracted friend, right?
That's a great way to put it.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, UGC, AI, but how do we take they seem like these massive concepts, right? How do we tailor them for association specifically? That's what I'm really curious about.
And that's the key, isn't it? It's about taking these broader principles and figuring out how they fit into your world, your audience, your goals. And that's what Manzar Mashad really emphasizes, right? When he talks about applying these strategies to chambers of commerce, nonprofits, associations, it's about understanding your members and what they value.
You know, it strikes me that even though we're talking about SEO, it's really about community, isn't it? Building a space where members feel like they're a part of something, valued.
It's huge. And honestly, I think that's something a lot of organizations miss. That strong sense of community is like a magnet for new members. When people see that energy, they want in.
It's that social proof everyone's talking about, right? If other people are finding value here, it must be worthwhile. But shifting gears a bit, I'm curious about local SEO. How does an association, especially one that's, rooted in a specific geographic area, how do they make that work for them online?
Great question. And Manzar actually uses clutch.co as an example. They're a B2B platform, and they've totally aced this whole local SEO thing. They optimized their Google business profile, got listed in all the right directories, even partnered with businesses in their area.
So it's about becoming a familiar face, right? That trusted resource, but on a local level. And that goes beyond just having a website. It's about being present in your community.
Exactly. And, this actually ties back into what we were talking about with AI and search.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does local SEO play into this whole AI landscape? It seems like we're talking about two separate universes here.
Not at all. Remember how AI search engines, they take context into account? Well, location is a huge part of that context. If someone's searching for an association in their city, AI is going to be much more likely to recommend a website that's, put in the work, optimized for that specific location.
So it's not enough to just exist online. You've got to plant your flag in your digital neighborhoods, so to speak. Make it crystal clear where you are, who you serve.
Exactly. Claim the Google business listing. Get listed in those local directories. Don't be afraid to use location-based keywords in your content.
Own it. I love that. Now, while we've been getting into the nitty-gritty of these specific strategies, it's important to remember that SEO isn't exactly one-size-fits-all, is it?
You hit the nail on the head. What works for one association might completely flop for another. It all comes down to understanding your audience, your goals, your strengths.
So less about blindly copying what everyone else is doing and more about understanding the why behind the what and then, getting a little creative.
100%. That's where the magic happens. It's about experimenting, analyzing, being willing to adjust your approach based on what you learn. Think of it like tending a garden. You plant the seeds, you nurture them, and you adjust your approach based on what thrives in your environment.
I love that analogy. So it's about finding that sweet spot, right? Where your unique value intersects with what your audience is actually looking for.
Exactly. And that brings us to another really important piece of this puzzle that I think sometimes gets overlooked: measurement.
Yes, the how do we know if any of this is actually working question. We can talk about strategies all day, but if we're not tracking our progress,
It's all for nothing, right?
yeah.
It's not enough to just put these strategies into action. We need to see what kind of impact they're having.
Hmm.
Are we getting more traffic? Are people sticking around on our website? Are they engaging with our content, signing up for that newsletter, or even better, becoming members?
So we're not just looking at vanity metrics here, we're looking at actions, right?
Hmm.
How is this translating to actual value for the association?
Precisely. And the great thing is we have tools like Google Analytics that give us so much insight. We can track where our traffic is coming from, what's resonating, even what actions people are taking on our site.
So we're using that data to make informed decisions, to course correct, to continually tweak our approach.
You got it. It's an ongoing process, but the rewards are huge. Investing in SEO, it's not just about being visible online, it's about ensuring the long-term growth and sustainability of your association.
It's like that saying, right? You can't improve what you don't measure. Data is king or queen. But even with all the best data, all the fancy tools, it really comes down to connection, doesn't it?
100%. We can geek out about algorithms and keywords all day long, but at the end of the day, it's people we're trying to reach. Your members, understanding them, giving them something of value, making them feel like they belong.
It's about going beyond just getting them to your website,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
about building that sense of community.
Exactly. And that's something that Manzar really emphasizes, that associations, maybe more than any other type of organization, they've got this incredible opportunity to really leverage that, the power of community and how it plays into their SEO.
Because who knows your audience better than your own members? They're living it every day.
Exactly. And when you can tap into that, when your members are engaged, sharing their knowledge, creating content, it's like this ripple effect.
Yeah.
It amplifies your message in a way you could never do on your own.
Love that. So as we wrap up here, any final thoughts for our listeners? What should they be taking away from this deep dive?
Well, I want to leave them with this thought. Imagine for a second that your association's website, it's not a website at all. It's a physical building. What kind of space is it?
Ooh, I like that. Okay, let's see. It's going to be welcoming, lots of natural light, maybe some comfy chairs, couches, places where people can actually relax and have a conversation.
Exactly. What about the resources? Is there a library, a great event space, maybe even a coffee bar where people can connect?
A coffee bar, yes. It has to have good coffee. But seriously, it would be this place that just kind of energizes you when you walk in, makes you feel inspired. You want to learn, you want to share, you want to connect with the people around you.
And that's it, right? That's the heart of it. SEO isn't just about driving traffic. It's about creating that same experience online, that feeling of connection. Because when your members feel informed, empowered, like they belong, that's when the real magic happens.
Love that. Such a great point to end on. It's not about optimizing for search engines. It's about optimizing for human connection. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. It's been awesome having you.
It's been a pleasure, really.
And for everyone listening, don't forget to check out the show notes. We'll have links to everything we talked about, all those resources. Until next time, keep those communities thriving.